You just referred to the Salt Typhoon attack as a sophisticated attack. Can you just elaborate? We still don't know a whole lot exactly of what's happened, at least from public reporting. You have extensive experience in this area, as you've just elaborated, for going back years now. So could you give us your sense of the sophistication level involved here, what we might be looking at in terms of ramifications?
Sure, thank you, Senator. The sophistication isn't necessarily just to be measured in terms of how they get in, but what they do once they get in terms of the broad collection operations that China's been running in general. This really belies what their intention is, to collect large amounts of information that they could later exploit, whether that be political information, military information, or intellectual property. We've seen the Chinese over the past decade significantly up-level what they were doing. In the testimony, I refer to smash and grab operations, where they would break into one target, steal the thing that they want, and then leave. They are now maintaining persistent and enduring access to those targets in order to continuously collect large amounts of information and exploit downstream relationships to other interesting targets.
When exploit downstream relationships, give me an example.
Sure. So with a lot of the telcos or ISPs that might be targeted, they have customer trust relationships, right? In other words, other organizations rely on those critical infrastructures for services or even shared services or web hosting, things of that nature. And they can exploit that trust relationship to then take on the persona of the initially targeted organization, to exploit that trust relationship and use that to move to other areas.
So could the hackers impersonate particular individuals?
They could, yes.
Could they disrupt specific communications between particular people?
I'd say it's fair to say once they gain access to the telco or to the mobile provider, they could initiate or disrupt communications, and it's at the core of the system, right? So they'd be able to basically do anything that the telco could do.
You mentioned their intention being to exploit this information. What are some possible examples of that exploitation? What could we be looking at?
In the case of many of these Chinese adversaries, espionage would be the number one objective or motive in order to collect information. But as I mentioned with Vanguard Panda, and this has been covered pretty extensively elsewhere, there is a concern about pre-positioning. So if there was to be, for example, an escalation around Taiwan, could they use that access to disrupt logistics or disrupt military operations or critical infrastructure in the region that would potentially slow or disrupt the U.S. response?